Caregiving and Related Housing Issues report takes Society of Actuaries work as well as some outside things that we've been working on for 20 years, different pieces from different times, and it provides a real set of information about long-term care as viewed by the individual. Well, long-term care or support for people who have limitations, a lot of it occurs at home. More occurs in people's homes than in institutional settings, but it can also occur in assisted living and in nursing homes. And there's specialized situations where there's memory care. And if we're talking about nursing homes, we might be talking about short-term rehabilitation or people who have longer-term issues. With regard to long-term care financing, I'm very happy that we're thinking about this today because many people haven't planned for it and there are gaps. There's a nice table in the report that compares from the point of view, again, of the individual using insurance. But unfortunately, it's a pretty small minority of U.S. population that has private insurance. Using personal savings, moving to something like continuing care retirement community, which provides care as well as independent living, senior housing that integrates care as you need more care, or using your housing equity. Now that's all private financing, and an awful lot of it is financed by government programs. Unfortunately, women have a relatively harder time in some respects in retirement. They live longer, which is mostly good news, but at the same time, they have longer expected periods of needing long-term care, which is bad news. And they also are less likely to have a family caregiver. Long-term care is also a huge risk for these women because if the assets are spent down, it's one of the reasons that women are poor and are more likely to be poor in old age. Long-term care is really important as a part of retirement planning because it's a risk that faces everybody. And while only a minority of people have a very long, expensive long-term care event, which can be ruining for a family, this is one of the primary sources of people having a shock that they can't deal with. One of the things that we focused on in the risk surveys are shocks. And shocks would be things that if you didn't plan for them and they cost you money. Well, long-term care is one of the shocks that's most difficult to deal with. But the other side of it is that often families provide the caregiving and it causes major problems for that next generation. One of the things that the surveys have documented is that people tend to plan short term. And part of that planning short term is not planning for long-term care. It's thinking about, well, can I pay my regular bills next 2 or 3 years? The Society of Actuaries Research Institute is very proud to have put together a variety of consumer education resources, and some of them are particularly helpful in the area of long-term care and particularly important in the area of long-term care because we know there are these gaps in planning. Society of Actuaries Research Institute has a series of decision briefs about decisions that people need to make as they're approaching retirement age and in retirement. And long-term care is one of them. And that helps people to think about insurance and what some of the issues are and the choices. That's been updated pretty recently. The Late in Life Decisions Guide. Because one of the things is that people are planning for retirement when they first retire, and they don't necessarily think about it, but what happens? They change. And if you think about, well, I knew this person at 60, at 70, at 80, at 90, or they died at 95. Well, were they the same? No, they changed in a variety of ways. I think this is really helpful for consumers. I also hope it's helpful to financial planners and to the financial service companies